Hey guys, just get off work. Not gonna talk long. I want to talk for a second about, I guess, like patriotism, the whole Southern idea of live and let live and all that. Let's talk about that for a second. One thing I found very interesting with people in the South, especially country folks, is this idea of patriotism and liberty and freedom. And I found it to mean something very different than what it means to me. To me, people in the South, their idea of freedom is the ability to tell other people how to live and what to do. And that's really it. That's their idea of liberty. Their idea of liberty is not my idea. My idea of liberty is, as long as you're not harming me or another, I don't care what you do. I don't wish you get in your business. I don't wish you know about a lot of your business. And it's a weird thing that as I've gotten older, I flee away from that. I flee away from that, trying to get in people's business and what are they doing. And people will say, well, I'm not doing anything bad. There's certain things that go on in your house that you may not consider to be secrets, but it's none of my business. It's none of my business. And I know that. None of my business whatsoever. And, as being the man that I am, I find it interesting people judge me for who and what I am. And I find it interesting because I don't want to know their business. You know what I mean? But they want to know mine. I find that incredibly interesting. And so I go back to what I began this video behind, which is that idea of live and let live. I'm a progressive. Okay? Some people believe that, let me clean my garbage disposal out. Some people believe that being a progressive means I want to tell people how to live. I'm a fascist and all this kind of, not a fascist, but you know what I mean. I want to tell people how to live and all this. And that's not it. As I've gotten older, I realized that that's really nonsense. And that's playing a victim. That's what those kind of people, that's what they do. They play the victim. They're not allowed to go out here and play cowboy and do all this. I had a conversation with my trainer, and I was telling him about how Sigma is a lot of rumor stuff, that people do a lot of rumors, that ain't really no secrets in that place. And there's people who would tell me that you shouldn't have secrets like that. What do you have that you're afraid of? But I don't feel like that. In my opinion, whether you're heterosexual, homosexual, transsexual, it's just not my business. And I don't wish to intrude upon no one else's business. I don't wish to intrude upon your business. I don't wish to do that. And as I've gotten older, that's just something I've picked up without even noticing. That's something I do. I don't even notice. There's a lot of things I don't want to know. There's a lot of things I really just don't want to know. And so it gets me when you have these people who want to play games and this person's a homosexual and this person's, why do you care? You know what I mean? How does their business interfere with your business? How does their choice of who they want to marry have anything to do with your marriage or your lack of a marriage? How does that have anything to do with it? I mean, what those two things are not, they're you know what I mean? They're mutually exclusive. They're not connected in any kind of way. Me drinking a glass of water does not affect my trainer or anybody else from drinking a glass of water. Right? I think we can agree on that. That wouldn't make sense. That wouldn't make sense for me to say that because you're in a glass of water, well, that means there won't be no more water left in the rest. That's crazy, man. And like I said, I go back to what I've seen in my life with this. I want to stop calling them rednecks. I want to stop that. I want to stop that because it's just I'm talking down at people, and that's not what I want to do. Look at my beautiful plants. All right. Yeah, so I don't have any wish to tell people how to live their lives. I don't have any wish to get in people's business. And that's something I found with conservatives for the most part. That's something I found on the job and other places that they really they go out of their way to tell you how to live your life. I think that's, now some people will say it was always like that. I don't know. I can't talk about that because I'm a man. I wasn't a man 20, 30 years ago, you know. So I can't tell you what it was like for a man 30 years ago. I can't. But I will say to them, in my experience, that these guys, they go out of their way, you know. They go out of their way to be nosy. They go out of their way to intrude in other people's lives. And like I said, that's why I make that point to you. That's where I'm coming from with this. That they go out of their way. I think do they have to do that? Like, you know, this we talk about it, the browning of America, and so they have to be more violent or be more direct. Not violent. I want to stop that. Not necessarily violent, but they have to be more direct. Guns are direct, but not just that. Whether it's calling you the N-word, whether it's calling police, you know, it's all about that. It's all about, in a very direct manner, you know, intruding upon people who are not harming you, but who you just don't like, you know. I kind of went off on a tangent there, but that bothers me. That's something that truly bothers me. It's just that attitude of trying to tell somebody who they can marry and who they can live with, who they can be, and when that has nothing to do with you. Nothing to do with you. I don't get it. You know, the older I get, I'll be honest with you, the older I get, I'm a pacifist. You know, and I think in America speaking, I was probably always a pacifist. I just didn't realize it. Pacifist does not mean not being willing to fight for what you believe in. I think a pacifist is always looking for the peaceful way. This is my definition. This is not Wikipedia. This is not Webster. I think my opinion of it is just that a pacifist is looking. He's looking for a better way than violence. He believes there's another way than violence, and that violence is not the first way. It isn't the only way. There's other options, other choices that we can take other than harming another being. And it also means looking at the world from other people's points of view than my own. You know, that's what pacifism means. That's what pacifism is. I think it is. Some people would say that they think pacifism means never even touching a gun. I don't believe that. Or that you know, that means seeking any other form other than violence. I don't believe that. I think you can be a soldier and be a pacifist. You know, I think that I think it means, you know, one thing for me, I live in a different time than maybe people did 100 years ago. So for me, pacifism is about you know, I don't seek violence. I live within a violent system. Right. That's what I'm trying to say. I live within a violent system. And I live around some very violent people. And so in living in that kind of environment and dealing with that kind of environment, I've got to do what I can to survive. Okay? And I believe that if you truly love, or if you truly do believe in something, or you love something, you got to be willing to fight for it. If you're not willing to fight for something with your life, possibly, I don't think you can truly say you love something. It's kind of like saying you believe in something, but you honestly don't. How can I say it? You believe in something, but you're not willing to stake any money on it. And I'm not talking about people who believe that betting is sinful. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about people who say believe in something, but they're not willing to put any money on it. They're not willing to stick a wager on it. They believe in it, but it's not going to harm them if they're wrong, right? You know. So that's how that is, man. That's how that is. But like I said, that's just something I've never understood, is just with these so-called conservatives, just their fascination with what other men do, what other people do. You know, I guess I'm a private person, and I've always respected other people's privacy, always. You know, sometimes I think I respect more than they respect themselves. Does that make sense? That's something I had to kind of come to grips with, that I actually respect people more than they respect themselves. You know, it's like Marisa told me he dated a black girl and she was like, "You treat me too good," or something like that. It's like that. I've done that with people, and it's to the point to where they don't know where you're coming from, because I believe in privacy. I got that's. I'm not joking. I'm not kidding. I'm not trying to be funny. You know, I'm not trying to get in your business unless you wish to bring me into that sphere of your life. But if you don't, that's fine. You know. And don't get it twisted. You know, I'm not gonna say I don't gossip or nothing, but it's just as far as I used to, or as far as like I said, these people I work with do. I don't really dig it. I don't really get it. I'm not fascinated with that kind of stuff. You know, it's kind of like when I used to make jokes about Obama, gay jokes. You know, it's kind of like that. I used to make gay jokes and stuff, and it's like, who cares? You know, who cares about that? My aunt does that. I don't care about that. You know. Obviously, in many ways, Obama did a lot of things I didn't agree with. My trainer talked about that. There's a lot of things Obama did I didn't agree with personally, and I didn't like. You know, he tried to say that by us not voting, that we set the tone, we allowed Trump to be president. Sorry about that. I don't believe that. I don't think voting really changes anything. I don't. Forgive me if I'm, giving you too much knowledge, but sorry. There's a famous saying. That if voting changed anything, it'd be against the law. I agree. I don't believe, I don't believe we choose our leaders. I don't believe we really choose anything in this life. I think that our leaders are chosen for us. I think we're just living. We're people living in an environment that we have little control over, for most of us. Maybe what I'm saying sounds kind of drastic or sounds kind of negative. I'm fine with it. But there are certain things about the New World Order, or whatever you want to call it, that I still believe in. That's one of them. Yet choice is kind of it's kind of a fictional. It's not real. It's not real, you know. It's not real for the most part, and that's you know, over time, when you start realizing what the U.S. government's done all over the world, you start realizing what they're still doing. You start realizing that most folks don't care. You start realizing these things. I think it's only a matter of time till you get like me and you start learning other languages and you start looking at other cultures, because you're just like, we're the bad guys. We've been the bad guys. We're getting worse. And now we have a culture that is kind of, if you will, proud of that. We have a culture that's kind of proud of being the bad guys. And I don't really know where that comes from. I don't really know how to even respond to that way of thinking, that belligerent way of thinking. That's something very different. You know? That's a different ideal, you know? I guess I thought that America was better than this. I realize now that, America's a fascist country in many ways. And it always was. And it always will be, you know? We're a country that doesn't really seem to care what we do to the world anymore. We don't seem to have any kind of thought of other people than ourselves. You know, I never thought I would say it, but with the mass shooters that I said it to you this morning, chickens come home to roost, baby. You know, and it's not easy for me to say that, because I've got family, and I don't want my family getting hurt. I don't want anybody getting killed. You know. In my family, in my loved ones, in my people that are attached to me. I don't want that. Okay? I don't want that. I don't seek that. I don't wish that. You know? But I also believe in karma. You know? And I strongly believe you keep living your life a certain kind of way that there's consequences. There's repercussions that come from living your life a certain kind of way. That's something that I believe wholeheartedly. I can't make that point any stronger to you than that. I believe that wholeheartedly. You know, you live your life a certain kind of way. And I believe you set yourself up for blessings. You know what I mean? You do things and you're setting yourself up. It's like the Bible says, you sow and you reap. That's something I've seen in my life. You sow and you reap, man. You know, it isn't all right now. It isn't all, you know, I do this, I get the money. You know, you do this, you get paid at the end of the week. Or you get paid next week. Same thing with your actions and your deeds. And I think that we're living in a time to where the American government doesn't even pretend to be just anymore. They don't even pretend to really be honest with the American people as far as military conflicts anymore. They just do it. To be honest, I'm kind of surprised that they haven't already invaded Iran, and that's probably going to happen. You know, if when my trainer asked me that, do I like being an American or something? You know, I think the real question is, why are we even talking about this stuff anymore? You know, we're living in a time to where we're lied to on a regular basis and don't even mean anything anymore. You know, they flew a drone. They flew a drone to try to provoke a war with Iran and got caught. And we're just sitting around like this is the most normal thing in the world. And Trump was talking about how he he felt so bad that he was gonna kill 150 people, like that that means anything. They don't care about lives. American government, foreign policy, don't care about lives. You know, we kill the poor children. You know, so he does that. And like I said, it comes out that, hey, It was a lie. You know, it was a complete no. And I'm like, you think Iran? First of all, you got no business with drones over there. Period. Let's start with this. Let's start with that. First of all, and there's people on YouTube that I actually used to, or I do respect in a way, that are saying that Trump's being weak, that the Iranians did this because they could. Are you fucking shit? Can you imagine if Russia flew drones like over Los Angeles or something? Can you imagine what we would do? Can you imagine what the reaction would be? Okay, so now, is the Iranian response really that? Is that really that unthinkable? No, it's not. Totally reasonable, you know. Provocation of war. Trump said the people that done it probably weren't thinking or something. No, these are probably seasoned people who, thankfully, did not fire at that plane full of people, because that would have been enough to light the wick. That the bomb would have went off. That the war would have started. Thankfully, this is the peace, you know, before the bloodshed. Hopefully, we don't get bloodshed, but I'm of a mind that it's a matter of time. It's a matter. They may falsify evidence, anything, man. And like I said, I'm at the point now to where I don't even think they pretend anymore about being just. The U.S. government, I don't even think they pretend. They just do what they want. They do what they want, and we find out later, and we're like, what happened? What, they were in Africa? What was it? They just do what they want, man. They don't care. They have no thought of anybody else's personal property. They have no thought of territorial boundaries, none of that stuff. That's why one thing that gets me by conservatives, when they talk about how they, you know, believe in sovereignty and stuff, the U.S. government doesn't. Oh, shit. The U.S. government doesn't. And the U.S. government don't operate like that. The U.S. government operates as though we're already like a world government, in a manner of speaking. They do. You know, so it's like conservatives want to go back to the 50s or just some reality that never existed. But some reality that's like something they read in a book maybe years ago, of like, you know, if you look back at the day before, you know, and imagine like there was no slavery, or if things really weren't that bad for black. It's like they want to go back to that, but you know what I mean? Yeah, they want to go back to that, but that's not possible. That's not even, most folks don't even want that. That's not even possible. The world that they want to go back to. So they vote for Trump because they're angry about the bailouts, understandably. They're angry about different. They're not angry about the wars. They're not angry about being lied to get into Iraq. They're not angry about none of that. They're just angry. You know what I mean? It's kind of like conservatives or rednecks, whatever. They're not against big government. I want to be clear. And a guy said to me years ago, they're not really against big government if it benefits them. Okay? They're against big government when you talk about high taxes. They're against big government when it's got to do with like paying a bunch of fees to get this, and you got to get a motorcycle endorsement to get a motorcycle. You got to get insurance before you can even drive. You got to get insurance before you can even get a permit to get a driver's license and all that. They don't like that. They don't like the government encumberment of having to pay this and go here and pay this and pay that, and before you can even go somewhere else to pay them to do a test, and you may not even pass the test. You gotta come back again. They don't like that. But when it comes to these wars, when it comes to they don't really think about that stuff. They don't really think about the fact that, you know, I don't know. When I look at the Iraq War, I think about the civilians did. I think about people who were killed by American troops because they didn't even understand English in the beginning of the invasion, and the soldiers would shoot up in the cars and stuff to make them stop. and they really didn't know the soldiers would tell them to stop. I think about the torture of Abu Ghraib. I think about all the people that got locked up at the beginning of war who really weren't terrorists, who really were people that other neighbors didn't like. Neighbors called them a terrorist. You know, that's what I think about. And I think about the death of America's innocence. I think America lost something when it went into Iraq. I really do. I think America lost something, and I don't think they can ever get it back. And what's worse, I'm not even sure most Americans are aware of what America lost. And I'm not sure they would even want it back. Ain't that something? Ain't that something? You'll say, like, what are you talking about? Just, you know, going into this land of torture, preemptive war. I'm talking about all that kind of stuff. I don't think America can ever come back from that. I don't think America can ever go back to what it was before 2001. And that's the only fairy tale land that I maybe entertain the thoughts of what the world was like before 9/11, before we went into all these countries and bombed these countries up and everything. You know, and Trump has said Iraq was a mistake. You know, and nobody's ever apologized. Nobody's ever going to apologize. See, I want justice. I want truth. I want liberty. And that means I must respect truth, justice, truth, and liberty of other people that I share this earth with. You understand? And I think that's kind of a part of what pacifism is. I do. You know? I hear these guys talk about, they think liberalism is about, like, you know, using the rules to screw people, and that liberalism's all about, you know, like having power over other people, and, you know, like changing the language up. That's not really what I've seen over the last couple years of my life, driving trucks over the road. Liberalism is just saying that other folks have the right to live, who are not pale white people from Missouri who daddy left them with a farm, or left them with a cleaners, or left them with a bunch of money. That there's other people out here who deserve to live just like you do, and that they have families that love them too. And just because they don't have the same belief you do doesn't mean you have the right to kill them or disrespect them. And most people would say, oh yeah, you're right. But what I've seen over the road and stuff, that's not, no, man. There's a lot of folks out here who don't feel like, who hate gay people. A lot of people like that. They hate gay people. You know, fucking hate you. And fucking will go out of their way to harm you or do you dirty. Even when you don't even know these people, you haven't done anything to them, you haven't said anything to them. It's something I've found in my lifetime. There's a lot of people like that. And it's something about being a black man. It's the same thing. It's this, you know, if you don't fit this mold, you know, we're going to give you problems. You know? It always got me being over the road that here I am working, and I'm out here in the rat race. I'm not doing anything to anybody, but they still hate you. And they still go out of their way to make things harder for you. And it's just crazy because it's like, they'll do things out west to make things more difficult for you. Like they'll talk to you in a way, talk to you like you're an animal or something, man. It's hard to explain it to you. And I hated that. God, I hated that. I'm not even sure I'd go back to Walmart. I'm not, because you're in an environment of people that you really have nothing in common with. I don't love Charlotte. A lot of things about Charlotte I don't like. A lot of things about Charlotte I don't like. Lot of things. But it's not like going out there to East Texas. A place like that. You know, I'm not trying to get into the stereotypes here. It's not that kind of a rant. I've had them kind of rants before in the past. This is just seriously just me talking. Let's get off work. Just me talking. Why does another man's sexual orientation matter to you? And why do you seek to judge people because of sexual orientation? Or why do you even care? You know what I mean? When they don't care, why do you even care about that? It's none of your business. It's nothing for you to stick your nose into. You know, and that's why this Paul Buttigieg or whatever, that's why I kind of respect him. I mean, he says some of what I say, this questioning American foreign policy, where it's going and all that, and looking at it from a different perspective. Obviously, we're going to have to see what happens with this cop in South Bend that shot this black man. Maybe by the time you watch this video, the cop will be locked up in prison or be fired or whatever. We'll have a adjudication. But as of now, I'm watching. We're all watching. And I didn't have a problem in Indiana. I really didn't. I liked Indiana quite a bit. It's you got your crackers and your rednecks. I like to burn a lot of shit. I'll say that. I don't question people by the way they live. Let me say this. I don't question people by the way they live their lives. I'm very careful about that. I don't question people by the way they live their lives. You know, I state my opinion. I may disagree with you, but I don't do that. And I make that very clear when I talk to people that I'm not questioning what you do, because you're not gonna question. You know, I don't respect you questioning me. Within reason, you know, like I told my trainer, I'm moving in the public. So as long as I'm moving in the public, you have the right to question me. Of course you do. You have every right to question me. You have every right to find out what I'm doing, because we're sharing the same space. It's a common right. You know, within reason and with respect. But I don't. And I mean, here we're talking about, you know, living out in the country versus living in the city and all that. And I told him I would want to live out in the country. Certain places in the country are all right. I like the Spirit, California. That was awesome. I've never been anywhere like California. I've never met people who treated me like that before. That was really special. that was really special to me. Those are some really nice people. And I've never been anywhere where everybody I met was my friend. I've never been nowhere like that, where everybody I met was my friend. I didn't want to leave. I didn't want to leave. I did not want to leave. It is what it is. I should take the home time out there. Yeah. That's what I should have done. Took home time out there. Just a day or two here and there. You know, just to keep me out there in the air. That's what I should have done, but you know, I was being a boy, just wanting to go out there and come back here to Charlotte. It's not my home, man. I realize that more and more as I get older. Charlotte is not my home. I live here, and it's like a soldier. You can make any place your home, I guess, if you try hard enough. You can make any place feel homey. You can make any place feel good, but it's not my home. It's not. It's got a lot of problems. I'm just not a Southern person, and people think that's funny or something. I'm just not. You know, I've realized traveling this country that when you deal with the Southerners, when you deal with the Southerners, you're really dealing with somebody that needs to live in the past. Like they need to, and I'm not saying they're dumb people. I'm saying that they put all their cards on the way things were at some point in the past. You know, and the only thing about the future they like is something that like a new kind of truck or something. That's it. You know, there's a lot of problems, but we're not going to solve those problems by living in the past. You understand? A lot of problems with technology. There's a lot of problems with transhumans. I have a lot of problems with that. But I'm not going to just tune off. And I don't understand anybody that does that, you know, just from the Walmart kiosks and I guess that's kind of because it's not their future. You ever think about that? It's not really their future, you know? Maybe they feel as though it's extinction. I hear them joking about, you know, one day being on a circus or something, last blue-eyed, blonde-hair Caucasian. I hear them joking about stuff like that. Maybe that's kind of how they feel. You know, I don't know. I don't think about it. But this guy I work with said he didn't want to go to California and didn't want to do it. I'm just like, what? You know what I mean? Like I couldn't even understand. I'm like, you what? I'm like, you know. And I guess he was trying to give me a heads up, man. From Missouri, lived in Houston for a number of years. I should have kind of caught it, and I did. You know, he's making a political statement there. Oh, okay, gotcha. All right, you're down with that, you know. Houston wasn't that bad though. I didn't think Houston was that bad. It's not my cup of tea, but Houston wasn't bad like that. Yeah, man, I just I don't understand that. I have an inability to understand it. I don't wish to judge people. I know I do. We all do. Yeah, we all judge, but I don't hold against people. I don't know. As I get older, I want to be a leader. And I want people to look at me for guidance. Because I'm a good guy, man. And I got a good heart. I've done a lot of good to help a lot of people. You know, I'm not a bad guy. Not a bad guy at all when you really get down to know me. You know, I'm gonna have some quirks about me. And I'm willing to fix myself. I'm willing to, you know, deal with my problems. I'm willing to deal with my problems. I'm willing to, you know, deal with issues that I have. I'm totally willing to fix myself. But I really don't understand this attitude. And I guess it's kind of that I think we all have a stake in the kind of future we want our children to grow up in. And when you go around trying to make people feel lesser, you know, I don't understand that. You know what I mean? What kind of world are you putting your hands in? What kind of world are you building? What kind of world are you doing? You know? What kind of world are you building if it's a world of hate? You know? I don't understand it. But maybe it's not for me to understand. That's something I learned also. You know? Sometimes you're not going to understand. There's a lot of things when I was a kid I didn't get. As I get older, I'm like, yeah, that's the way it is. You know? Maybe I've got used to certain things. Maybe that's I've got used to certain things. Maybe I've just grown up and matured more. But like I said, I really don't understand that attitude of wanting to look down on people or treat them a certain kind of way, like they're less because of who they choose to sleep with or who they choose to be with. I don't get that. I don't do that. I've never done that. You know, and I know I've gotten better. You know, I've gotten better at certain things as I got older. I've got better at learning to live and let live, man. You know, I've really gotten better at those things. And I've got better at just respecting our differences in society. Like my grandfather used to say, they take all kind of make the world go round. And that's true. You know, that's true. It takes all kind of world to make the world go round. And it's not my place to tell you how to live your life. Peace, y'all.